Shaq, for those just wonderful words. And you know, in talking with him and Samir last night, it brings back so many great memories. You know, in our business, a lot of people pass through our business. You know, countless, thousands after 33 years now. I was 12 years in the business when I met Shaquille, and it seemed like a lifetime already at that point. And now, so much time has passed since then, you know, and he's not 22, 23 years old anymore, you know, he's a middle-aged guy, you know, and you know, family, beautiful family, and it's just amazing how it happens. But so many pass through our lives, and you have to have a short memory with, I believe anyway, with the challenges, and it's just so precious to have the good memories of the stars, of the ones that get it, of the ones that, you know, just, you know, made your business what it is. Because I listen to those statistical numbers, and I know the score. I didn't do all that. I didn't even come close to doing all of that. I know how it was in my first days, months, and even years. Everything that happened, I had my hands on. Everything that happened, I knew about and was engaged in. But I didn't have anything to do with this. And there's a bunch of other rooms like this I didn't have anything to do with. Because eventually, if you keep working the system, you keep believing in the system, you keep working through the multitudes of people, you're going to find your key leaders. And you're going to be blessed to have people like a Shaquille Islam and, you know, and Samir and so many others. I mean, it's just countless almost. And that's the power of our company. That's the power of Primerica. Eventually, you begin where you build everything. But then eventually, the system, the company system, which is the people that are in the system, they take over and they build it for you. And I've never seen anything like it. You know, I started out my career in engineering. My professional life was in engineering. And I thought I was going to do that forever. I liked it. I thought I was pretty good at it. I moved up in the system pretty quickly. I was a committed employee. I was working, you know, 60 and 70 hours a week. And things were great. I started in the blueprint room making $4 an hour, and all I wanted to do was get out of the blueprint room, you know, and get on the drawing table and show I could do some stuff and learn. And I did that after like a month. And then, you know, went up from like a junior draftsman. Back then you drew everything on the table. Today, none of that exists anymore. You know, it's all done on a computer and all that, and that's what I'm doing with the house that I've been building for the last couple of years, is sitting on a computer, on CAD programs, you know, drawing and engineering every square inch of the property. And it's been fun. It's something I always wanted to do. I was dreaming about doing it. I was doing it for other people, and my bosses would say, you gotta do it faster. Because they just want to make money. They just want to get it done. And I want to get it right. I want it to look a certain way, so I'm like slow. There's always a little bit of a friction there, I remember when I worked. But anyway, I thought I was doing great. And I'm moving up. And I changed jobs twice. Because what I learned was, when I came in as a junior draftsman and moved up a little bit, my bosses saw me a certain way. They saw me as the guy that they hired 2 years before. Even though I had learned so much, done so much in 2 years, they still saw me as that young kid that they brought in 2 years before. And it was hard to convince them to promote me to another level. I noticed they would hire from outside someone to fill a role I know I could have done. But people have parents do that with their kids a lot of times. They see them as their kids, you know, all the time. In spite of them becoming adults and capable and all this stuff. And so I moved to another, so I I found that if I just leave and go to another company, I can go in and present myself to this new company, Company B, and I can sell them on this is who I am. I'm not that kid from 2 years ago. This is who I am. And they buy into it. They give me the. So I was able to make promotions by making some moves. And that worked until it didn't work anymore. You know? I got to $42,000 a year salary in 6 years from making $4 an hour. And 1990 happened. It might be 1890 for some of you in this room. You know? But 1990 happened, and we had a massive housing recession. So no one's buying houses, no one's selling houses. So you got all this inventory, not doing anything. And so there's no one's hiring engineering firms to design new subdivisions to build if all they exist. So firms are going out of business. People are getting laid off. And I'm looking to my left, I'm looking to my right, and people are evaporating. And I'm like, I'm next. There's no way I'm going to weather this. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm talking to people older than me. What's going on? Why is this happening? Because up until that point, I thought hard work paid. I thought as long as I was a good employee, did my deal, it would all work out. That's what Dad told me, and Dad's a good guy. And now things outside my control are determining what my not just my future, but my present was going to be. And I was worried. I was scared. They said, "No, Mark, don't worry about it. This happens all the time." Silly kid. You don't know anything. It's the business cycles. It's like the tides of the ocean. And all these wonderful metaphors. I'm just like, tides of the ocean, they go in, they go out, they go in, they go out. Like you can trace it back to World War II, probably even before. You know, housing cycle builds, it bubbles, it busts, it goes down. And then it'll come back again. I'm like, well, what do you do while you're waiting for it to come back? Whatever you gotta do. I mean, you know, go get a job waiting tables. I'm going to night school. I'm trying to save money. I'm thinking about opening my own engineering firm one day. Because the owners of the firm weren't going to give me ownership. Not the one I was in, and there was no other company that I could then leapfrog to, because they were saying, job opening, part owner of our firm. There's no job openings like that, right? They're not going to give me equity just because I'm a good draftsman, designer, or engineer. Not going to do it. The only people who get equity are the ones who start the firm. They're the only ones. Bring money, bring market, bring something that matters to a business. So I knew the only way I was going to have, and I knew I could only make so much as an employee within their firm. But it really hit me the last year at the last firm I was at. I started there in November, and at the end of the year, at holiday time, Christmas time, the last day before they closed up for a week for the break, I had an envelope on my desk, and I said, "What's this?" You know, I had my name on it. It looked nice. You know, let me open it up. I opened it up, and inside there was a check for $1,000. Now this is 1989, and I'm making like 30 grand or something, 35 grand or something like that. And that was like a big deal to me. I'd never gotten a bonus before Shaquille ever in my life. And it was like, whoa. I mean, here at Primerica, I've made bonuses $25,000 or more. You know, I mean, Shaq gets them almost every month at that level. I mean, it's, you know, ridiculous. Samir makes a bunch of them too. So bonuses are like, yeah, bonus, big deal, bonus. But back then, 1,000, I was like, whoa. And it's money that you didn't expect. Isn't that the best kind? So I was all excited about that. And then it motivated me. I had a great year the next year in spite of all the shakiness and things that were starting, the signs of things starting to kind of come apart. Still had a great year, still worked hard, still all those things. And then Christmas time's coming around again, and I'm thinking, I have great reviews, they're telling me all these great things, and my bonus is going to be, shoot, if they gave me $1,000 after only 1 month of being there, and now I've just had 12 more months of great reviews, doing great, what do you think my bonus was going to be? I think it's going to be at least a few grand, right? So I started Christmas shopping accordingly. And I'm like, Mr. Christmas. And I couldn't wait to roll in that last day and see that, you know. I just couldn't, like, maybe even more than 3,000. It's got to be at least 3. It's 4. So I'm going there. It was like the happiest morning of my life going into work. This is for real. This is truth. I'm making jokes about it, but I'm telling you, that's how I felt. And I go in there, and I'm looking, and there's a lot of pit areas, you know, that people are, you know, and I have like a cubicle area, there's like so I'm able to see everything that's going on. And there's these big cellophane wrapped packages on everybody's desk. I'm like, ooh, didn't see that last year. I wonder what that is. And I go over to my cube and I look at mine and I kind of open through it, and it was a ham. And it wasn't even like one of those honey baked cooked spiral slices. You know how good those are, right? And you just, well, Shaq doesn't know how good those are, but a lot of people know how good those are. Unbelievable. They're like candy coated and just delicious. Oh my God. But this one was like raw. Had like a bone sticking out of it. And like, what am I supposed to do with this? I never cooked a ham in my life. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm looking for the card, and there it is. I grab the card, I open it up, and I think, what's it going to be? And you know how it is, you know, when you see cards from like your aunt or uncle or something, or your grandma or something like that, you know, there'd be a card, but you shake it first and let the money fall out, and then you read afterwards. But nothing came out. Nothing. And just a little, you know, thanks a lot, have a great year. Empty words. And I, like, this is a joke. This is a joke. Somebody's playing a game with me. Someone's messing with me. And I would start looking around to see who the joker was. And I look around and I see all the same faces that I was seeing. So I look in the mirror. Shock. What just happened? This is the audacity that these guys had. The 3 partners. They parked their brand new SUVs in. They were, today you say, oh, who cares? Jeep Cherokee Limited Edition. Back then, that was like a Tesla Cybertruck or something. I mean, it was, you know, you used to say it was like, you know, a Hummer, but now people don't even know what Hummers are. But in that moment in time, those were like a G-Wagon or something. That's what it seemed like to everybody. And they had the audacity to buy them, park them in the lot, everyone could see, when they decided to hold our bonuses. There was no contract that they were required to give that to me, or anyone else for that matter. But it was in that moment I quit. I didn't walk out, I had bills to pay. You know, I couldn't afford to just quit. But God, I was pissed, and I just wanted to quit so bad. And I just wanted to walk out and say, screw you guys. But I didn't. But I quit up here. I stopped being the same employee. I stopped showing up so early and staying so late. I stopped working so hard. I stopped caring so much. And see, I see that a lot today in corporate America. I see lots of people that are disillusioned. Not just because they didn't get a bonus, just the overall way they're treated from day to day, month to month, year to year. That they're really not necessary. That they really, and you know, these companies, they can do their little town hall meetings, they can do their little picnic party, and all this kind of stuff, and act like we're a family. But we're not. They're not. And you'll have a decision to make at some point in your life what you want to give your all to, what you want to go all in on. And I just decided, as much as it hurt me, because I wanted to be in that field, I wanted to be in that career, I thought things were great until they weren't. And I'm just so glad it happened so young in my life. That it didn't take me until I was 45 to get that slap in the face and find out it was all a charade. But I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was desperate. And I tried all kinds of stuff, and I don't want to take time telling you some of those war stories, but I tried a couple of goofy things before I got lucky enough to find Primerica. Because I was just looking for, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what other skill I had. But Primerica found me. And after 3 months of hemming and hawing, I finally got brave enough to show up again and try. I tried not to do it, but I couldn't think of what else I could do. I joined out of desperation, Samir. It's crazy. I'd like to think I was just smart. I just saw it. I saw the presentation. It made perfect sense to me. And I knew a good opportunity when I saw it, and I seized it, and the rest is history. Not even close. If I could have done anything else almost, I might have done it. I swear. Because I didn't want to make all the change. I'm like, I don't know anything about financial services or products. I don't know that. And I said, yeah, it'd be good to, I guess, but sales? About sales recruiting? I sat in the cube and drew pictures all day. I was like a trained introvert. The thought of doing this, and I love doing this. Back then, I remember the first time they gave me a microphone. I remember the first time I had to make a phone call. I called a shop teacher from high school that loved me. Loved me. He was the best high school teacher I had, all my high school teachers. I called him up, tried to get an appointment with him. He gave it to me. But it was so sad. And I was like, what just happened to my voice? I literally started hyperventilating on the call. I had never hyperventilated before. I was like, I couldn't catch my breath. Anyone ever had these feelings? That's good. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. So let's go to the first slide. That's a little bit about my story, how we got here. Let's go to the first slide. Whoever's got the slides. I told Shaquille, since we have so many new people that are here, raise your hand if you've been with this company less than 6 months. See, a lot of people look around, a lot of people. So a lot of people, you're still trying to figure out what this is a little bit. Now, the more you show up, the more you participate, the easier that's going to get, okay? You're not going to figure it out from a distance. You're not going to figure it out being like some of the time players. You've got to immerse yourself as much as you can. It's worthy to do that. If you're going to be in for a little, be in all the way. Be in as much as you possibly can so you have the best chance of having some success here. Well, I was talking to the group last night. The system is great, but it's not so great that you're going to have money falling out of the ceiling tiles on you for not doing anything. It's not that great. I can tell you that. But there's not one person in this room that if you don't put in your best effort, won't have success. I can also promise you that. The system will pay you and reward you for growing and putting your best effort forth. That I can promise you. I've seen it for 33 years, and I know the history of the company prior to my 33 years. It's amazing where people have come from and what they've achieved here. But I've met these people, talked with these people, and it's always the same story. They didn't come in and just dazzle the place. They had to learn it. They had to learn the system and master the system. For some of them, it was a little easier. For some of them, it was some of the hardest things they had to do. But it's always worth it. This company is amazing. We've been on the New York Stock Exchange with our banner out there a couple of times already. We've only been publicly traded since 2010. Got out from under Citigroup. Saved the company from being bought up by some mega conglomerate that just wanted to sell off the book of business and not care about any of us. We were saved from that outcome. And now our own public company, where no one can put their thumb on us. No one can tell us what we have to sell, what we cannot sell. How we can compensate our representatives, how we cannot compensate our representatives. We used to pay $600 million a year to Citigroup as our parent. And during the financial crisis in 2008, Citigroup was on their knees because of all the bad loan products they got involved in. We weren't doing any of that. We were one of the very few profitable financial services companies in 2008 and 2009 where companies were getting wiped out. 100-year-old companies were gone from the landscape of financial services during the biggest financial crisis since the Great Depression. And our company was strong, but we were sitting underneath Citigroup that was falling to pieces. The same year we were giving them $600 million just to be our parents, they were asking for $40 billion in government relief. Our money didn't mean anything to them. And we didn't mean anything to them. And our CEO at the time, the great John Addison and Rick Williams, co-CEOs, found us safe harbor during that time of our history, and it changed everything for our company. No one was IPOing, going out as an initial public offering, especially in the financial industry. And these guys did op meetings, like you see at your office, not much different at all, in front of hedge fund managers, venture capitalists, people with hundreds of millions of dollars to invest, maybe billions of dollars to invest. And those initial investors bought the op meeting that you pay $99 if you decide you want to buy in. They bought in with tens and hundreds of millions of dollars into the exact same opportunity. Not to be a rep like you and I, but to own the opportunity to override reps like you and I, and we have that opportunity as well. And I want to share some things with you about that, but real quick, if you're worried at all about the company because you don't see Primerica on television every day, it just means we don't do television. That's all it means. Doesn't mean that there's anything not solid or strong. It just means we've chosen not to waste money marketing our business in that manner. That's all it means. We have plenty of money to do that. We just choose not to. It's remarkable what we've done not doing that. 5.5 million client lives insured, 2.9 million investment clients, over $100 billion of client assets. Next slide, please. 130,000 licensed representatives. There's no company in North America that can tout those kinds of numbers. We're the biggest. We're the best. And just real quick, this is what we do for people. We build them a financial house. Who here would like to save more money than you save right now? If I asked this room in the entire country, would a lot of hands go up just like in this room? Yeah. Who'd like to make more money than you make right now? If I asked the entire country, would a lot of hands go up? Just like this room. I could go to any room, any place, anywhere in the country, ask those two questions, and I'm going to get the same response. Everybody wants to make more money and save more money. That's the first thing I heard my first opportunity meeting. Jeff said, who'd like to save more money? Who'd like to make more money? Who'd like to make more so you could save more? I'm asking. Simple. That's what we do. Now I could go for an hour talking to you, how do we actually do that? That's not what I'm going to do today. But we help them with financial products. We help get the proper insurances in place, spend less to get more. Who'd like to spend less and get more of anything? Even a bowl of spinach. Let alone all the financial products that really matter to your house. Who'd like to spend less and get more on rates of return for your investments? Who'd rather get 10% instead of 2%? Compounded for the next 30 years on your investments. Who'd like to shave 1% on your debt? Compounded for 30 years. These are the things that we do to make a long-term, sometimes even a short-term, meaningful difference to a family. That, you know how hard it was when I went and saw Shaquille's family? See, he was like, wow. And I was like, it's not hard. It's not hard. They're giving us all the ammunition. You just have to learn how to operate it. And I thought, listen to this story. I went on field training meetings. I booked 3 appointments. 3 appointments. This is God's not truth. I booked 3 appointments. Family members, co-worker, friend from work, 2 family members. I go out and see the co-worker from work first. Jeff's with me. I introduce Jeff, shut up, and let him go. He does the appointment. He's telling jokes, he's explaining concepts, Rule 72, all the different things. They're listening, they're engaged. I'm like, okay. They do business, he gets referrals, they're considering the opportunity for themselves. Okay, this thing works. I ain't doing this. I quit. It's the only time I ever thought of quitting Primerica. The only time. worse things than that happened to me in this business, and I never thought about quitting. I almost quit after that first meeting because I thought I couldn't do what he did. I knew it worked. I knew he could make it work. I didn't think I could do it. And I thought about, I'm not going to do that. But I had 2 more meetings booked. Thank God he had me book 3. Thank God we didn't book 1 and stop. We booked 3. And I thought to myself, you can't quit. I mean, these are your family members. What are you going to do? You're going to call them up and say, I quit, after I told them so excited I was to have a meeting with them, and I'm going to quit. And Jeff just helped Andy and Heather. And you're going to deny now your family members getting help as well. Suck it up, Buttercup, and go to the meetings. And don't quit yet. But I was going to quit. I was committed to quitting. And so we go to the meeting, and guess what I saw? The same thing. He even told the same jokes. And they laughed. And I smiled. And I saw the repetition, just in 2 more meetings. And in that repetition, I said, I can do that. I can learn to do that. Repetition is the mother of learning. And so all of a sudden the light bulb went off. All of a sudden my confidence went up. I said, I just have to practice. I had to learn everything I had to learn in engineering. I didn't know anything about that. So, we can do this. Next slide. These are all the great companies that fall in line to work with us because we're so great and they need us more than we need them. Period. They need us. They need 130,000 life license representatives. They can't get that somewhere else. They don't want to create it themselves. It's too hard. And there's no other financial distribution company in North America that's even close to what we do in that regard. They need us. They line up to our CEO and say, please take a look at what we can do. We're Fidelity. We've been the biggest, baddest on the block for decades. And they're coming to us, saying, please put us on your menu. Can you find a little corner? Can you find a little corner down in that little right corner to squeeze us in? We'd really like to be in business with you. And some of you in this room are hearing things from people that don't know anything, and they're trying to convince you you're being scammed because you paid $99 for your share of a license that costs $1,000. And Fidelity said, please let us in. Please. We'll let you in, but we need only your best products. We need only your best compensation. We need only the best arrangements that you make with anyone, anywhere. And if you measure up to that, you can come in, down in that right corner. Isn't that amazing? I think it's amazing. So you get licensed, you get to represent all of them as your menu. How do you fail with that? You can't. You can't. You won't. Next slide. Thank you. So this is just my little version that I kind of created to kind of compartmentalize kind of how this thing works. I call it the ABCs of Primerica. The ABCs, because it's pretty fundamental, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Isn't that great? We still do that. Some things you just remember forever, right? 2 all-beef patties. Special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onion, they're just some things you never forget. They learn as a kid and they just stay with you. So these are our ABCs. Hopefully they'll stay with you. So A is being an agent. We all start as an agent. The difference with Primerica and any other general agency firm, whether it's insurance or investment brokerage, the difference is what an agent is here is that an agent doesn't have to stay an agent. And we tell you that from day one. That's the biggest and most important difference between Primerica and any other financial company that you could consider. Same licenses, products might be similar. I think ours is the best of the best. But there's lots of similarities. The big difference, the most meaningful, the everything difference is agents don't have to stay agents. Engineers don't have to stay engineers. I never would have left engineering if they said, Mark, work hard here, and you can own all of this one day. If McDonald's said to me, Mark, you're working fries right now. Ever see Coming to America? What's that comedian's name? I'm doing fries now. Oh, I'm cutting the lettuce. That's what I'm cutting lettuce. But I'm going to be on fries soon, and that's going to be easy street. But if McDonald's told me, Mark, you're going to work everything. You're going to sweep floors. You're going to cut lettuce. You're going to make fries. You're going to flip burgers. You're going to learn to register. You're going to learn every aspect of every job in this store. And when you do, we're going to move you all the way up to the manager of the whole place. And when you do that well, then we're going to move you all the way up to owning it. You're going to be an operator. You're going to own the thing. And it's got a $2 million valuation. And you don't have to pay a nickel. Sweat equity the whole way. I would have joined McDonald's in a second if they had that opportunity. How about you? Because equity is what matters. Ownership is what matters. So, but we start you as an agent. So here's an agent. Agent, you help part-time, PT, 2 clients a month. You're at a lower contract level, so you're getting less margin on what you do. What we call about $1,000. It can be more, it can be a little less. But 2 average clients, you make about $1,000. If you're full-time, you should be able to do double that. You have double the time. I don't think 4 clients a month is a lot. If you look at our company leaders book on personal production, the top people are doing 40 clients a month, personal. So I know you can do 4. You must know you can do 4 on a full-time basis, for sure. I mean, Sheila's killing those numbers. Killing those numbers. So, but see, I look at that and thought, if I can start making 1,000 or 2 part-time, I'm only making $3,000 a month as an engineer, and that's on shaky ground, so I can make the transition. So I was part-time for about 10 months. Made enough money where I started to believe. I didn't replace my salary, but I worked for 7 years on that salary, 60 hours a week. So I'm like, okay, I can see that this can work. I can see that now Jeff is not the only one that can do it. I can do it too. I'm not as good as him yet, but I can do it. And I want to do it my full-time best efforts. I don't want to try to get as good as Jeff being part-time some of the time. And I quit my job mentally. So now it's time to quit it physically and go all in. Greater things have been risked in American business than going full-time on commission in Primerica. Much greater things have been risked. I want to be an owner. I had to start thinking like an owner. I couldn't play it safe. I cannot steal second base, keeping both feet on first. It was time to make a decision. So I decided to go full-time and try. And if I fail, I fail. Jobs will be waiting for me. McDonald's is still hiring. But I'm taking a shot. And like Shaquille said, one of the things that gave me the most confidence in taking that shot was I had mentorship. I had someone in my corner. I wasn't going out by myself. It's like the cliche we always say, we're in business for ourselves, but not. That's so huge. And I love the way Shaquille expressed that, how much it meant to him, and how much that means to me to hear you say that. Because I know what it meant to me to have Jeff as a mentor. I know what it meant. That dude worked here for 11 years. 11 years. Maxed out his income at $250,000 a year, saved $1.5 million, sold his business for $2 million, and retired to go live in New Zealand. Lived the next 20 years of his life hiking and biking with his 3 kids and his wife in New Zealand because that was his dream, not being the biggest earner in Primerica and getting all the accolades. What he cared about was getting financially free and telling the world to take a flying leap. He couldn't live in New Zealand and own his business because of license requirements, so he sold his business. 11 years! Cash millionaire. Go live your life. Till the whole world takes flying leap. Pretty cool. B is being a broker. What's that mean? So a broker is basically an agent that duplicates themselves by teaching others what to do. I taught engineers and draftsmen how to do what I was doing. I had a project team. I was responsible for what they did. I trained them. I supervised them. I watched what they were doing. I had a team, but I didn't override them. They even let me get involved in the hiring process. Mark, I said, you want to do it? Like, Mark, we need to get a few more people. Why don't you interview them and see what you think, and decide, we'll make a final decision, but you let us make a recommendation. And you're going to supervise a couple of them anyway. I'm hiring them. And you know what I'm doing? I'm trying to be a good employee. I hire the best ones. And then a year and a half later, they're competing with me for the promotions I want. So I started hiring bad ones. A lot of crooked roads in Northern Virginia. That was me just trying to have job security. 20 clients coming in monthly. If you're doing 4, how many more do you need? 5 to do 4 is 20. 10 to do 2 is 20. 20 to do 1 is 20. I just don't want it me doing 20. How about you? I want a team that does 20. That's going to make about $150,000 a year. Jeff told me, Mark, $10,000 a month is 1 to 3 years away for the right person. 1 to 3 years away. When you decide you're the right person, you go all in, you make no more excuses, you choose to become a pro like you did in your engineering job. You choose to master this thing, you're 1 to 3 years away from finding a tiny team. You say, 20, that sounds like so many people. Our company does about 40,000 clients a month. How do they do that? Bunch of teams that do 20. Bunch of Samirs, bunch of Shaquills, bunch of people doing 2 clients a month, part-time. Next slide, please. So what's that look like? That's your RVP base shop, okay? Now that 20 client base shop could be a 200 a month base shop. There's some people that have mega base shop offices. You can have modest offices, you can have huge offices. But what those offices are meant to do is not just bring in 20 or 200 clients, they're meant to develop new brokers. We have about 5,500 regional vice president brokerage offices throughout the country, North America. It's kind of like McDonald's has some, I forget what the current number is, but I think it's somewhere like around 75,000 McDonald's. I don't know, maybe some years, I don't know, the number is a lot, all over the world. But you know how you get a McDonald's? You don't get to work up, right? Like I talked about, there's no way to just throw your way up through sweat equity. You got to pay a couple $1 million and get on the waiting list. And they'll tell you you're going to be on a truck stop on I-95, not right where you want to be in Ashburn or something like that. They're going to put you where the openings are. I don't think that opportunity is quite what it was in the 50s when Ray Kroc was selling them for $5 grand or $10 grand. To me, I'd rather invest my $2 million than walk away with $400,000 of income on McDonald's, frankly, with my $2 million. I'm not really sure it's so worth it, but the only way that new stores get open in Primerica is for agents to decide to become brokers. And for the existing brokers to teach them how to be brokers, and we're incented to do it. Instead of training your competition and your opposition, you're training new business partners that create complete passive outlets for you. Passive, I'm going to talk about that some more. So what you're doing is you're building your own company within the company. Not just your own franchise, your own brokerage, your own company. So if you put out just 3, we call them first generation. It's like parents having children. Meet my son, Shaquille. Really is just like that. And so what do you do with your children? You want the best for them. You want them to have it easier and better than you do. You want to shortcut all the pitfalls. You want to amplify all the things you did right. You want to help them do that. So you're doing everything you can think of that they can do better, faster than you did. It's no different. 3, first generation. If they're just doing the same thing, each, everyone's doing 20 clients a month, not 200. Just doing 20 clients a month. 3 first generation RVPs, they're going to be worth about $50,000 to $100,000 a year to you, each. So So that comes out to anywhere between 150 to 300,000 for having 3 first-generation RVPs. And if they go on and be bigger, they have a nationally ranked base shop, 100, 200 clients will be worth a lot more than that. Okay? But what if those RVPs go and duplicate the plan that you did, and they go get 3 of their own? What's that look like? Now, do you think you're going to work harder to raise children or grandchildren? Say it again. Children or grandchildren? Which takes more sweat and equity and time? Is it even close? Not even close. I don't have either, so to me this is all theoretical. Okay, so I'm literally asking you guys, which is harder. But look at this. 9 second generations, you only get 25 to 50 on each one of them, half the income. For 1/10 the work, half the margin. That seems fair. Does that make sense? But because the multiples, there's more of them. Do you think you're going to have more grandchildren than children, theoretically? If you have 3 children, and they all want to have families of their own, you're going to just wind up with more grandchildren almost automatically, right or right? So smaller margin on more numbers still means more revenue, $225,000 to $450,000 on the seconds that you had much less to do with. You want to go further, go to thirds. 27 thirds at only $15,000 to $30,000 per, but multiplied by 27 is $405,000 to $810,000 on the thirds. Plus you get paid on the seconds, plus you get paid on the first, plus you get paid on your base shop, as long as you want to keep doing it. I kind of stopped doing it. I'd make more if I kept doing it. At some point, you just make a decision. Is my passive income enough that I want all my time back? Jeff made that decision in only a few $1 million, 25 years ago. He made that decision. Weesaw made that decision years ago. I mean, he was the biggest earner in the company forever. So Willie just did what he did. And one day Willie will close his base shop. But not for a while, if you ask him, because he wants to do something historic. He already has, but he's looking at off the chart numbers. He's like, why not? Why not? Why think small is big? They will pay you through 6 generations of RVPs. I've only illustrated the first 3. And it's more of the same. The margins get smaller as you go to 4th, 5th, and 6th, but the numbers get bigger. One day I'm going to have a lot more 6th generation RVPs than any other generation. It's just the way it works. I look at whole company hierarchy. Glenn shared those numbers with us, where he gives the entire company hierarchy, what it looks like. Imagine you're that code, overriding everything. It's crazy. And then last is stock for the ABCs. They give you our stock, which is one of the best stocks in the country. They give you our stock just for promoting people to RVP. $15,000 for promoting someone. How's that for year-end Christmas bonus? If I left my engineering firm to go open my own engineering firm, which happens all the time, if I talk to any owner of an engineering firm, they used to work for someone else. They decided they didn't want to work for someone else anymore, so they went out and opened their own firm. The old firm lost their best person and gained new competition for the limited market right away. Right? And here, we promote people out, and they stay in business with us forever. We override them forever. And they pay you a bonus to do it. It's nuts. And they give that bonus to the promoting RVP and the promoted RVP. Let's look at that stock. Next slide. This stock, I gotta wrap up. This stock, I just want to talk about ownership with you, and I'm going to be done. This stock, this is since 2010. What's that say? It says 1,068% in 14 years. 1,068% in 14 years. I remember when that stock IPO'd, they let me buy $30,000 of it. They limited my IPO purchase. They said, Mark, you can buy as much as $30,000 if you would like to. I'm sure Shaquille was given that same opportunity too. I'm hoping it wasn't more than that 30, but if it was, God bless you. They told me you could buy 30. And I'm like, I didn't even think twice. I'm like, 30 grand, there you go. And I had no idea it would do this well. I hoped. I heard stories that I thought I missed out on. The Citigroup era. Primerica was number one stock on the Dow Jones 30 for the decade of the 1990s. Number one on the Dow 30. Before that, it was A.L. Williams stock. Millionaires were made from nothing in the 80s. I thought I missed those opportunities. I owned some Citigroup stock. They were letting me have Citigroup stock at a 25% discount in the 90s if I made the field cabinet. My numbers were good enough that I could be on the field cabinet. You got a navy blue double-breasted jacket that looked terrible on me. But I could buy a blue chip stock, Citigroup, our parent, at a 25% discount. I was like, how much can I buy? I'll buy as much as I can. Because I want to save, I want to invest, I want to get wealthy. That's what I'm teaching people how to do. I'd be a fool not to do it myself. Spend less, save more, invest. I want my money to pay me back. I don't want to work for money chasing dollars the rest of my life. I want my money to work for me. I want a bunch of Ben Franklins going out into the world and bringing back friends every single day, day after day after day after day. They never complain, they never call in sick, they just have a little smirk on their face and bring back friends over and over and over and over again. And every purchase I think about making, I think, do I want to take that Ben Franklin off the playing field? Or do I want to keep him out there? So stock's been great, that's wonderful. I want to talk to you about ownership. Next slide, please. This is a company, some of you may have heard of this company. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this company. The symbol is KO, and that is the symbol for Coca-Cola. Anyone ever have a Coke and a smile? I want to talk to you just real fast here about ownership. Because ownership of the ABCs, the S is the most important one. And it's not just owning the stock. It's owning something of value. RVPs own. RVPs with hierarchies of RVPs really own. And that's what we're dying for you to do. Coaching you, helping you, mentoring you, convincing you that you should do that. That you should figure it out with our help. Coca-Cola, in the last 10 years, is up 54%. And you know, if you went home to your mom or talked to your brother or your coworker at the job that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired at and said, I just took a job to rise up through the ranks in the executive department of Coca-Cola, they'd all say, wow! And you'd be proud to tell them, wouldn't you? 54% in the last 10 years. And you're sheepish about talking about Primerica because you don't understand it. Because you haven't spent any time trying to understand it. People say, I'm going to do my research without a clue of how to do research. And I would have been one of those people. I would have been one of those people. You're not a stock analyst. Neither am I. How'd you like to be the CEO, James Quincy, of Coca-Cola? They pay that man $24 million a year to be the CEO of Coca-Cola to try to figure out how to get the rest of the country to keep drinking crap that we all know makes us obese. Right? And spread it through the world. And sales are sliding because people are waking up to it. Still a great business, one of the iconic brands in the world. Right? But he's got to wake up every day figuring out how to move this stock. Because the owners of this stock are his boss. He's not an owner. He probably has some shares. They pay him a lot of his money in shares. But let me give you an example of an owner. Warren Buffett. Let me get these numbers right. I don't know if you've ever heard of Warren Buffett, but Warren Buffett is in the business at Berkshire Hathaway as an investor. He buys businesses that he thinks are good businesses. He owns 10% of Coca-Cola. 10%, not 50, not 10%. Okay? It's one of his largest holdings at Berkshire Hathaway. His 10% ownership, he made 54% growth on it over the last 10 years, but let's forget that. Let's put that aside. If you look down here, it says the yield is 2.98%. That's the dividend, basically, that they're getting. That means the shareholders get some of the income that the company revenue generates. They should, they're owners, they should get some of the money that the company makes. Does that make sense to you guys? The dividends that Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway gets is equal to $776 million a year. The CEO who sweats the business, worried he's going to get fired if that stock doesn't start moving, year after quarter, gets paid $24 million a sweat, and everyone in this room thinks, wow, what a dream job to be the CEO of Coca-Cola. Warren Buffett makes $775 million being an owner, doesn't have to sweat any of that. He makes James Quincy sweat. He doesn't. Save money and invest. Save money and invest. He makes 31 times what the CEO makes, and it's only one of his holdings. Bobby Gleason was the biggest earner in this company. He's probably worth $1 billion now. I mean, if he's getting 5% on $1 billion, that's $50 million a year. If he's just getting 5%, I think he knows how to do better than that. His earnings in Primerica is $4 million a year. He told me 20 years ago, when I'm like, what do you do with all this money you make, Bobby? You're making like $3 million a year. What do you do with all that? He goes, my Primerica money, I just use that to help pay my taxes. What? I didn't understand it. He says, Mark, this is a 20-year deal. Make money. Save money. Invest your money. Do what we're out there telling people how to do. Get wealthy. Look, in most years, some years up, some years are down, that's the nature of the market. When it averages all out, the ups and the downs, already I'm making more on investments than I do in my primary income. That's what was supposed to happen. I know Shaquille, I know Samir, they're savers, they're investors, I know it. Right from the beginning, I saw how Shaquille was saving his money. Okay? Just use the rule 72. Whatever you got right now in 6 years, it ought to double. In 12 years, you should have 4 times what you have. Minimally. 12 years is going to go by. Let's get after it. Has anyone ever talked to you like this at your job? Has anyone in your family ever talked to you about this? Who's in your ear telling you to get wealthy? How to build wealth so you can have a better life for you and your family? How you can make a difference in your community? How you don't have to be hustling on a treadmill to nowhere for the rest of your life? How go to school, get an education, go out and get a good job isn't probably going to work out as well as advertised. This is Primerica. You have a chance here. You have a shot. Thank God they gave me a shot. And I'm always excited to give someone else the next chance that I got as well. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.